done the head coaches. We've done the quarterbacks. We are now going to the running backs, ranking all 32 NFL teams by their running back rooms. And obviously, NFL has changed over the last 10 years. It's running back by committee for pretty much all the teams now. There's a few that have like a workhorse, but
the Titans.
I would say that might be the only one now. Last year there was like 3 or 4 when you had like Dalvin Cook and Zeke Elliott, but Zeke fell off the face of the earth, and Cook now has Alexander Madison, who's done really well whenever he's gotten his chances. So
Saquon's still there.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. There's like 5.
Kamara could be a workhorse, but Latavius Murray still gets so many carries a game.
True. I know. I love having Alvin Kamara in fantasy because sometimes he'll get you like 50 points, but I also hate it because Latavius Murray's a touchdown vulture.
Yeah.
He is.
So I get to go first this week. Second, Isaiah third, and then back to we'll circle back. So for the first pick in the running backs 2021 NFL draft, I will go with the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
I think there's two guys that could be workhorses on NFL rosters. Obviously, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. After that, there's quite a fall off. Dearness Johnson was really good when the AAF was around. He was probably the best running back in that league, but it doesn't say much after that. And then you want to consider Andy Janovich is one of the best fullbacks in the league. So just because of the two guys, though, I think that does so much for their place on this list. So I'm just going to put them right there.
I mean, if you put them on we'll get to it, but if you put them on any team, basically like ranked 17 to actually probably like ranked lower than 10, they're both the number 1 running back in the team. Like there's maybe 10 teams with a better running back than those two, and they have both of them.
Yep.
Yeah, you pretty much have 2 number 1s and 2 easy number 1s, and I'm not sure if there's another team that can really say that.
Yeah.
There's teams with a real good number 1, a good number 2, but they're a clear number 2. So
I think the 49ers 2 years ago could have said that. Like they had 2 guys who could be their workhorse.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting to see how far they fall down on this list. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've fallen. I mean, I think last year even we still had them in the top 5 or 10, and they've fallen below that for me.
Yep.
For sure. All right. Number 2. Yeah. So this is, I don't know. I could have gone a few different ways here, but I am just going to go with who I believe is the best running back in the NFL right now, which is the Titans with Derrick Henry. Running back room is not incredible at all, really. So there's a reason he gets that many carries. I think if they had really what they're missing is probably a guy that could take a little bit of load off of Henry. But McNichols isn't bad. He's okay.
And you have one of the best names in there too with Kari Blasingame.
Yeah. So that's cool. But Derrick Henry's just a monster, just a beast. And,
they did pick up Brian Hill as well from the Falcons off free agency, and Hill did pretty well when he filled in. But there's so many guys that are they're all like McNichol even on most NFL rosters is probably a 3rd running back. A lot of these guys are a bunch of number 3 running backs.
Which I think for the Titans is fine. So there's no reason for them to really go out there and spend that much money until they see a Derrick Henry injury or a fall off. But I mean, I still think he deserves to be top 3, top 4. He's that good. He's a horse, just a complete beast. I mean, there's no other running back like him right now.
It's going to be interesting to see what because obviously we've seen how workhorses fall off in the NFL. Like Sean Alexander was abused and Larry Johnson was abused for the Chiefs. And like those guys have short careers. Like Michael Turner was abused by the Falcons for several years and then they just fall off. So like maybe Henry has a really good season yet. I think he still has a good season left in him, but I've really got to think the Titans got to maybe invest like a 2nd or 3rd round pick next year in the draft for a running back.
Derrick Henry is doing more abusing than him being abused.
Yeah, so, it's true. Yeah. Still, and I still think he will this year.
I think he's dishing out a lot more of the punishment.
How long How long can he take that punishment?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that the Titans could have like a guy who just got signed, like Rex Burkhead would have been kind of cool for the Titans. Like he he can catch the ball. He can or James White, even though they wouldn't pay that much for James White, something in that mold where primary is a pass catcher, but also is really crafty on his feet. I know they tried to get that with Deion Lewis and it just didn't really work out that well.
Yeah.
But they were going with the right idea. They were going with the right idea with Deion Lewis of just something different than Derrick Henry. You can't just get another Derrick Henry just to take carries off him. You have to have someone who's more dynamic. But yeah, some of those guys over the past 5 years, anybody who's been a running back for the Patriots, basically. But also an Austin Eckler, just a budget version of those guys would be perfect for the Titans.
Yeah.
At number 3, I am going to go with probably the only person, just because of how multifaceted his game is, that gives Derrick Henry a run for best running back in the league, and that's Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, I still think Derrick Henry's the number 1, but Christian McCaffrey can just do everything. And the Panthers ask him to do everything, and he does everything. He obviously was hurt last year, just hardly played. But they're a totally different team with him. And yeah, he is definitely, in my mind, he's the number 2 running back in the league. There's a couple other guys who can kind of poke at him for that position that we'll get to, I'm sure, shortly. But just the way that Christian McCaffrey's able to just be used in so many different ways. He is a workhorse. I know he got hurt, but before that they were relying on him almost every freaking play.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, same with Derrick Henry. The room around him isn't that great. I like that they got Chuba Hubbard.
I was just going to say Chuba Hubbard is actually a sleeper in fantasy. If they do ever
For
try
sure.
to change pace a little bit, get Chuba Hubbard in one of the late rounds. Just snatch him.
I think he's going to be their number 2 because I don't even know the name.
I think he will by the end of the year, but I still think Cannon and Bonifant will be ahead of him.
Reggie Bonifant can catch the ball. He's more like McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
But just based on the number 1 guy, Christian McCaffrey is just insane. So I think he belongs right behind Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's good. This is an interesting trend because I think last year we did put more weight into the second and third running backs on each roster. And this year I'm liking that, we are taking a focus more on who are the really elite running backs still left in this game. And
there's 2 teams that I hope are next that I could totally see being here at number 3 rather than this. I just thought this is just who I had. But.
Yeah. My next available is right here at 4 is the New Orleans Saints.
Yep. That's one of them.
Alvin Kamara. Obviously, again, another multifaceted running back that can do a lot of things for an offense, and he seems to be their motor on several games. I think he may even have a bigger role now with quarterbacks that are more concerning at the position. But Latavius Murray has been a breath of fresh air for a nice running back too. They picked up Stevie Scott, who's probably not even going to make the roster. Alex Arma at fullback.
Ty Montgomery's been around.
Ty Montgomery.
Oh, yeah. That's a name.
And then even Dwayne Washington from former Lions, 6th-round pick.
Sure.
In his limited carries, he's done pretty well. So I think
I think Latavius Murray is just I know they don't have this in the NFL, but he's a 6th man of the year in the NBA. Off the bench, who's never going to be a starter, who's just really not that guy you can just rely on for 40 minutes a game. But when you need him to come in and spark you guys up, or spark the team up and spark some energy, he does it.
Yeah.
Yep, and he's a great compliment because he doesn't bring the receiving ability of Alvin Kamara. Kamara's a borderline receiver sometimes, but just a great compliment to Kamara. And I agree with Joel. I think Kamara's role might even grow a little bit more. I feel like they're going to kind of put a little bit more on his shoulders.
If I was doing fantasy still, he'd be my number 1 pick.
Yeah, because he kind of, I don't know. He'd have games where he'd have 13 carries and then 6 catches, which is still, that's 19 touches. That's not nothing, but it's man, dude, give your best player the ball. It just doesn't make sense. So I think you're going to see a little bit more of him going forward.
Yeah. Latavius Murray the past 3 years has not started more than half the games, and he's had 600 yards, 600 yards, 600 yards. That's what you want him for.
Yep. Solid. All right. Number 5.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
All right. Man. I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison. I really like that combo. Dalvin Cook just, I don't know. I don't like him, and then suddenly he'll come on for like 5 straight weeks where it's like, good grief, you can't stop the guy. And then you look at his numbers at the end of the year, and he's one of the top 2 or 3 4 running backs in the league. It would be nice to see with those two guys and Madison's a great compliment to him, kind of like you mentioned before we even started this list. It would be nice to see those two guys with maybe a little bit better quarterback play and a little bit better receiver to kind of complement that offense. That could be a crazy good offense. But I feel like they kind of belong right here at number 5.
Yeah, I'm actually the Vikings in the Madden League. I'm still playing. We updated the rosters with the rookies and everything from this draft, and I've been playing a little bit with Kane and Wangwu. He's fast. He's going to be a guy that can do kick and punt returns. And so Amir Abdullah may actually get phased out of this offense and probably cut.
Good.
And you also consider C.J. Ham as one of the better fullbacks in the game too. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I want to see how small Amir Abdullah's hands are.
We're going to go back to that again. Just friendly reminders. People said he'd be a first-round pick if it wasn't for his
I'm
swing.
pretty sure my hands are might be bigger than his. Like, I'd have to measure it, but he's 8.5 inches. That's not big.
No, that's
okay. Anyway, I just switched mine up actually. So I was gonna go with a team who is carried by their number 1, but I'm sick of picking those guys because I feel like we've been picking them these first 6 picks. I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Yep, I have them next.
I just think that room is just awesome. Jonathan Taylor, I thought he would be the best running back out of last year's draft class, and he showed at times that he could be. I can't remember who else was in that draft class that was better than him, but there might be someone that was better than him. But I don't know. He was just awesome last year, and then they have Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack, who are like great, both number 2s.
Even Jordan Wilkins has gotten some quality time.
Yeah, but like those top 3 guys are awesome. Like I think that's a really solid top 3. It might be one of the best top 3s. Like I know we talked about the Browns of the best top 2 by far, but just having like all those guys who contribute very well, and like each one of them can like kind of be the running back for a game. Like you'll have those games where just Nyheim Hines, I think, was it against the Lions?
Yeah, he did go off against the Lions.
Where Nyheim Hines just goes off, and then you're gonna have a game where like Marlon Mack and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, I got to pick this guy up off."
Marlon Mack, when healthy, it could be easily number 1 in a lot of teams.
Yeah, and then Jonathan Taylor, like I said, like he had an incredible rookie season. I thought he had the best rookie running back last year. I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, is the other guy that a lot of people thought it would be, who also was really good in his time, but. Just Jonathan Taylor, I think, just had a lot more play and just is able to rush for 150-plus yards if they really wanted to.
Did you see the stat? I think it was PFF put it out that Jonathan Taylor's top speed, he had like an 85-yard touchdown run this past year. His top speed that year, or on that run last year, was faster than any top speed that Tyreek Hill had last year.
Yeah, I did actually see that on the next gen stats. Those are crazy. Which
it was close, but he was faster than Tyreek Hill.
I mean, he had a 4.3 something in his 40.
Yeah, and he's huge. Like he's a freak. Like,
well, it's even like when they watched Derrick Henry rumble down the field too. He also had one of the faster runs of the year.
Yeah, he's huge and he can race fast. It's not like he's slow. He just doesn't look as fast because he's 230 pounds.
Yeah, so
like Jonathan shaking when he moves.
Yeah,
Jonathan Taylor had the 4th fastest recorded time last season.
Yep.
It was Raheem Mostert, Kenyon Drake, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And
Mostert can fly. I mean, Mostert can fly.
Mostert's the fastest running back in Madden in the last 2 years. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of then Kenyon Drake, I was actually going to put them next at 7. Yeah. Josh Jacobs is the lead back, and then they get Kenyon Drake in as a free agent. Kenyon Drake was a number 1 back for the Cardinals the year before, and I just, there's some serious talent there with even Jalen Richard Trey Regas is another quick running back that he's going to maybe touch the practice squad. Alec Ingold was one of the better fullbacks too, and I'm not going to knock on Theo Riddick, who is a longtime Lion either.
Yeah.
So,
man, I must have really overlooked them because I had them at 16. I must have not seen the Kenyon Drake and Theo.
I feel like the Kenyon Drake himself would have just put that on top, but
right, yeah.
I actually had them on 4 at 4 on my list, but they're getting here now at 7.
All right. I feel like you can't really drop him this far anymore. This makes sense. So I'm going to go with the Giants here.
Yep.
Saquon, he probably, I don't know, if he played the full year last year, then maybe we would have.
I don't know. His one game last year was just awful.
Well, you know.
Yeah, but he's on the Giants, man.
He's also on the Giants. But, you know, if he would have played the full year, I think we would have maybe had them up higher on the list. But I do also like Devontae Booker. I think he's a good compliment to Barkley.
Well, even I know I haven't pushed back in this depth chart, but Raquel Armstead, who opted out due to COVID last year, was supposed to be one of the Jaguars' better running backs last year.
Yeah,
they got him, and then Elijah Penny's fine. They drafted Gary Brightwell, I think, in the 5th or 6th round. So
so it's not a bad running back room. I think obviously it's headlined by Barkley, and Barkley, you know, he's a freak. We know that. Like, he's ridiculously athletic.
Corey Clement is also there.
Clement he's also on the team. You're right. He was good in college, at least. So, you know, I think that you still got to keep him in the top 10. I don't think it's fair to Barkley Booker's a good running back too. Like, he's had good games, and he's another guy that I look at kind of like he could be not as good, but like Latavius Murray-esque in a perfect situation where he's, you know, suddenly you're like, man, that guy's got 10 touchdowns this year and, you know, 500 yards. And you're like, what happened? Yeah, because he's, you know, a touchdown vulture down at the goal line because he's a bigger guy. Yep. So I feel like, I don't know, it's a decent running back room, obviously headlined by Barkley, who puts him over the top a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, is it my turn?
Yes, sir. Number 9.
All right, I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
I like him.
That's my next.
Yeah. J.K. Dobbins, I guess he was another really good rookie last year. Really, like, especially early on, he looked really good. Having Patrick Ricard and Ben Mason, like, come on. Like, are they going to run 2 fullbacks?
I hope so.
Because that'd be incredible. Gus Edwards has always been a really good number 2. I think they're going to be a little, like, this is their first year without, what's his name from the Saints?
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram. This is their first year without him, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's going to be, like, that's going to be noticeable, I think, like, having that veteran presence back there. But I think J.K. Dobbins, like, just being not having to always be the number 1 guy, like, just the way they use their running offense, that it's spread out, helped him adapt as a rookie, similar to Jonathan Taylor. Like, I think just having those other guys, you know, if I go in and have not a great game, like, there's other guys who are going to be around me doing just as well or better. So, yeah, I think the Ravens right here, I did actually have them a bit higher just based on how they use the run game and how much they on how they use it. I did actually have them higher, but just off if we're going off talent, this is where I think they should go.
Yeah, I mean, they have 3 good running backs. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, remains to be seen how he continues his career, but was great as a rookie. Gus Edwards is a great compliment to Dobbins with a little more heavier, a little more power there. And I like Justice Hill. Like, Justice Hill he brings something to the table. He's a good pass catcher, and they used him a lot last year. And then obviously they're one of the few teams to still pretty heavily employ a fullback into their run game. So it's going to be really interesting with Ricard, who's probably, you know, considered the best, at least one of the top 2 or 3 in the league at fullback. And now you got Ben Mason. Who knows what they're going to do?
I swear they're going to be the only NFL team this year on their 53-man roster to have 2 fullbacks sitting on.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep them both because
you drafted Ben Mason, for gosh sakes.
Yeah, they wouldn't have wasted a draft pick unless they wanted to use him in a certain way. So they're going to run the Maryland eye. So they're going to have Ricard and Mason in front of J.K. Dobbins. That's what they're going to do all game long.
That's good. And Isaiah, it's been interesting. I've been able to kind of bounce off specific names you've mentioned before I say mine. And you mentioned Mark Ingram, who's now in the Texans. So Texans are my number 10.
Yeah.
David Johnson, Mark Ingram, Philip Lindsay, and then they got Rex Burkhead, who obviously doesn't move the needle in some people's minds.
No.
Dontrell
He's
Hillary.
the fourth running back even on this team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's always going to be like the 4 running back, but he's got to be one of the best 4th running backs, other than maybe the Colts, who have Jordan Wilkins.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing with Burkhead. He was perfect for what the Patriots do.
Yes.
Just perfect. Guy just works extremely hard. Is going to make the roster just because he's a good football player in general, because he can play special teams. And also, when Sony Michel inevitably gets hurt, and, then they're suddenly stuck with Damian Harris and Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead's going to produce because he can catch the ball. And he was perfect for the Patriots. But I don't know how he's going to do somebody else.
So I had the Texans down at 17. Because I didn't rank them with Burkhead. But also, too, because I feel like they just have a lot of guys who was like, oh, they were really good on this other team. Let's see if they work on this team. Like, you have all these guys who are very good in the –
But we also don't know if they're not going to work on this team.
Sure,
So
yes.
True,
but
true.
You had a lot of guys who are really good in the context they used to be in, and that isn't a surefire thing to say they're going to be good again. So it's both sides of it. That's not to say they're not going to be good here, but it's also not to say they are. Because, like, if Mark Ingram has thrived as not having to be the workhorse, and he won't be as David Johnson, but, like, I think they'll use him. I don't know. Like, and then Philip Lindsay, like, was that just a weird couple of years with Philip Lindsay? Was that just like a weird undrafted?
I mean, an undrafted guy to run for 1,000 yards behind a Broncos O-line,
Yes.
It might even be worse. I don't know.
True, but we've seen one season wonders in the NFL before.
Yes, seldom undrafted rookies.
David Johnson has been trying to recover from breaking his arm on my fantasy team for years
Against the Lions.
because I cursed him. So, he has to get past his curse. I think he has to at least sacrifice like 3 goats.
If they sign Duke Johnson, they have the best 5 running backs in the league.
True.
All right, Ben, you can go.
Can you pause it real quick? Pause it real quick.
Okay. All right. 11.
Number 11. All right. I don't know. This is getting a little tougher, but I don't know. This is tough. Those guys are too good. I am going to go with the Packers here.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I like Aaron Jones, and I actually think A.J. Dillon's going to be really good.
I mean, Aaron Jones is one of the best running backs left on earth.
Right. Yeah, he's a superstar when he's healthy. So Aaron Jones, headlined Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. I like Kylan Hill, actually. I think that's going to be a good pick there. A.J. Dillon is the size of a linebacker playing running back. He's bigger than most linebackers now, actually. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, I think that's a good 1-2 combo. They complement each other because Aaron Jones is not big. And A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon. I did not know A.J. Dillon was that big.
He's not small.
He has the biggest quads in football. Biggest quads in football.
Yep. He's
Holy
big.
crap, look at those thighs.
Yep.
Good gracious.
He's
He
big.
nicknamed him, right? Quadzilla and
Godzilla.
yeah.
Something else, yeah.
My goodness.
He's big. So
Yep. So I actually had them at 19, but I mean, this kind of trended the way it is with putting the starting running back that much higher. Obviously, Aaron Jones is easily probably a top 6 running back in the NFL.
Yep.
So that can be argued. All right, Isaiah 12.
Sorry, I'm just looking at a side-by-side of Eddie Lacy and A.J. Dillon.
Well, it's different type of physique. Same size, different type of physique.
Ooh. I'm going to give him – I hate him. I hate this guy. But I'm going to give him the benefit that last year was a fluke. I'm going to go with the Cowboys here.
I don't like him either, but okay.
I know, but he's still like he's just been one of the best running backs for the past couple of years or 5 years. So, also Tony Pollard at number 2. I really like Tony Pollard.
Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, I think part of it, a little bit of it's because I had the Cowboys for a little bit in our Madden league, and I actually got rid of Ezekiel Elliott, and Tony Pollard was my number 1, and he was awesome for me. But like he was able to pick up some slack from Ezekiel Elliott. He was asked to pick up too much slack because Elliott was being kind of a lazy bum at times.
He was bad last year.
Yeah, and he just didn't seem to care. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't want to, that it was just a fluke year, that it was just something that won't happen again, and he'll go back to being maybe even top 5 in the league.
I mean, the talent is there for him to be a top 3 running back.
Right. Yeah. And like I know the offensive line is a huge part of it.
Yep.
But like he still knows what to do with a really good offensive line. Like he's not just being carried by them. He's actually making some plays himself.
Yep.
Number 13, I will go with another NFC East team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Kerryon Johnson, Boston Scott, Jason Huntley, Kenneth Gainwell, and Elijah Holyfield.
Elijah Holyfield.
Oh, I did not know. I did not have that they got Kerryon on my thing.
Yep.
I sent the updated one like 2 days ago.
Well, man, I did this weeks ago.
Okay.
Yep. I think Kerryon kind of puts him up. I think Kerryon's going to get a chance to really have a role. With the Lions, it was always, is he healthy? Oh, now we have Swift. Oh, it was just kind of a, what's really going to be his role? Can he stay healthy enough to really form into an every down back? I think the talent is there. It's just whether or not he can stay healthy, and I think he'll get a chance to at least this year. So, and I like Miles Sanders. I think
Well, they've got again 4 guys I'm pretty comfortable with. Even if Boston Scott's got to get in there.
Yeah, Boston Scott can fly. He's one of the faster running backs around.
Yep.
And his name's Boston, which is awesome.
That's cool.
And they ripped off 2 running backs from the Lions now because they took our 6th round pick last year with Jason Huntley. So.
Yep, I noticed that.
Wow, those jerks.
Those
taking our 6th round pick. Come on.
Okay. Here's where it kind of gets interesting. I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, Josh Kelly. I like those top 3. They're all like the same dude though, in a way. Austin Eckler is like, in all actuality, they're all like very good pass catching backs.
They are all the same. I mean, Justin Jackson's a little bit longer, but
yeah, they're all like the same running back
thing.
though.
Yeah.
But they're extremely productive. I like Eckler. I think he can be a number 1 back in the league. Justin Jackson's a great number 2. And Josh Kelly came on last year. As kind of a fantasy sleeper. And I think he might end up forming into that number 2 back eventually.
They did draft Larry Roundtree the 3rd, so
yeah, they did. So I think they want maybe a back that isn't quite the same as at least Eckler and Jackson, because they're both pretty similar. But I think there's a lot of production there, and it might not come in necessarily the form of rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, but you're going to see just from a pure total yards standpoint, I think those guys are going to put up some numbers. They're going to catch the ball a lot. Eckler is one of my favorite guys to have in fantasy. So,
I used to always have Melvin Gordon in fantasy, so he's my least favorite.
I love Eckler. Eckler can put up, not the same consistency, but he's had games where he's had 12 catches for like 130 yards. So,
right.
He's a good receiver.
For which number are we on?
This is 15.
For number 15, I'm really between 2 teams that both start with B, both have 5 letters, and both end with S.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go with the Bills.
Okay, yep.
The first AFC East team to go.
I still I really like Devin Singletary's rookie year. I still think there's a lot of talent there. Zach Moss looked pretty good. They got Matt Breida, who I'm a huge fan of. Any of those 49ers running backs from a couple years ago, I'm a really big fan of for some reason. I think that's just a really solid top three. And with Josh Allen just yucking the ball 500 times a game, they're not asked to do a whole ton, except in those cold Buffalo games when they just got to run the ball. And I think you can trust in those top three guys to get it done. And you got a lot. I think you got a good amount of variety there, in just what everybody's able to do. Like they're not all just the same guy.
Yep.
So I actually had them at 25, but I mean,
Yikes!
if you're running them at potential, they're obviously all still young. So I don't know, other than Breida, but Breida's always kind of been like a number 3, number 2 border guy. It'll be interesting to see what you do in Buffalo. It's not like I like Singletary and Moss. I just figured I still felt like I needed to see more before I put him up higher.
I was going to say, Devin Singletary's 800 yards in 8 games in his rookie season must have really put a sour note on you.
Mm-hmm.
I traded Devin Singletary when I was the Bills, so just throwing that out there.
That's what it is. We're the real GMs.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right. 16, halfway through. I am going to go with the hometown heroes, Detroit Lions.
I was going to pick them if you didn't.
Yeah, I kind of actually had I had the ability that they were actually on my previous pick, and I'm like, you know what? Wait a minute. I actually think I like the Eagles a little bit more, so I went the Eagles. But the Lions, DeAndre Swift was poised to have a decent year. Jamal Williams is still considered to be one of the better number 2 running backs in the league. Did a great job, kind of changing pace with the Packers last year.
Yep.
They could have been higher if they kept carry on, but they're going to run with Jamar Jefferson and probably an undrafted free agent. But they got 2 guys that could play fullback. They might be the only other team that has 2 fullback. I doubt they keep Bowden and Kabinda together, but those are both solid guys to play fullback. So I don't know. I feel like right here at halfway, when you've got 2 really good running backs, I'm okay with taking here.
Yep, no problem with the Lions there. I mean, there's nothing that stands out yet until one of like a Swift or I guess Williams, but until Swift, like it's like, man, this guy is now a premier guy, which you see there is a chance probably.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that's going to really move him up from there, but it's solid. I mean, especially for how bad you look at the Lions roster, period. Look at how bad they are. Like it's pretty good to have their running back room. I feel pretty good about their running back room.
Yeah, I think it'll be the biggest bright spot this year. I think the defensive line could still be pretty good, but I think the running game will be the bright spot on the offense.
Defensive line better be good. They can't put your second, third round pick in there and be butthole.
All right, I'm going to go with the Seahawks next. Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. I think that's still a good 1-2 punch. After that,
DJ Dallas sounds like an adult performer.
DJ Dallas sounds like a weird, yeah. And then Alex Collins, I liked him in college. And shout out Nick Bellore because Nick Bellore's cool and I've met him before.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, I was wondering if the Nick Bellore thing was pulling you a little bit. I had the Seahawks lower than even the Bills, and I had the Bills. I had the Seahawks at 27. And
Chris Carson and Rashad Penny are much better. Those 2 running backs are a product of their terrible offensive line. They are. That's a good 1-2 punch. They're both like the same guy, but that's a good 1-2 punch.
I just felt Chris Carson. I mean, obviously, again, offensive line has a big part to play in a lot of that. But Chris Carson fell off the face of the earth, and they had injuries last year. Rashad Penny, I mean, their entire running back thing.
I had a couple other teams that I could have picked here, and there's one for sure, but I don't know. I felt like the few other teams that I considered were possible one-hit wonders, and I wasn't going to blame a team, Chris Carson for his injuries. I didn't blame Christian McCaffrey for his injuries. I know they're not the same guy, but
yeah, there's only 2 other teams that I was like, yeah, I feel like are definitely better there, but other than that, I guess you could kind of flip-flop other ones around.
And Nick Bellore, former Lion, Nick Bellore.
But also CMU grad that then knows someone that's related to Nick Bellore.
Yes, I do. I know his.
It's all about connections.
I know his.
Nick Bellore.
I know his brother-in-law well. My brother knows his brother-in-law well. So. Yeah.
Your brother had 12 strikeouts the other day. Well done.
He did. He was pitcher of the night. Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Well,
18.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the other B team I was talking about, and I'm going to go with the Bears.
Oh, no. You guys are missing.
I wasn't going to go with it. I was going to go with a different B team, but go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of B teams right here. I think I have 3 of them all next.
I think I agree with Ben's other B team.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, David Montgomery, with just not much hope in his life, had some really good games last year, especially towards the end of the season. I still really love Tariq Cohen. Like, he's one of my favorite players to just, like, watch when he gets the ball in open field, because he's just, like, he never stops moving. He's like a coked up hamster or something. It's hilarious. And then they added Damian Williams, who is playoff Damian, and you cannot disrespect playoff Damian. I know the other team you guys are talking about has another playoff X player who I probably should have picked above this team, but hey, I like David Montgomery. I think he is better than a lot of people give him credit for.
I like Montgomery too, and I like Cohen, but they're lower. They're like 3 further down for me.
You don't remember that run? Remember that run David Montgomery had against the Packers?
I do remember it.
I should pay.
I remember it well.
I mean, come on.
Yep.
Well, that does conclude all NFC North teams have now been picked for running backs.
There we go.
I am going to pick the one of the 2 teams that I felt like should have been picked before, but since I know Ben's probably going to take the other B team, I'm going to leave that one for him, and I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs because I can't let them fall another way down. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Darrell the Barrel Williams, Darwin Thompson, Jerick McKinnon they picked up.
Yeah, I do like that pickup.
Former Lions fullback Mike Burton, and then they also have Elijah McGuire, who saw the field with the Jets for a little while too. So there's a lot of depth pieces. Darrell the Barrel and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
So here's the thing with them. It's just I don't know if they deserve to be much higher than this, even though, because I know you said like you don't want them to fall anymore, but it's like they're so overshadowed by Mahomes and whatever that what that offense is otherwise, that I don't know. Like Edwards-Helaire was obviously great when he was healthy, and but I don't know. The running backs are not gonna at the end of every year, the running backs just aren't gonna have the touches and the numbers that other teams do.
So my thought process is like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is like, I think he's a mid to late running back 1 on most teams, but then you have a bunch of like number 3 running backs, maybe an occasional 4 sitting in there, but like, I think Darwin Thompson and Darrell Williams get the ball on pretty much most other teams too as well. So
I like Darwin Thompson a lot. It's just, and I like both of them actually, but I don't know. I just don't think they.
Well, I had him at 15. I had him at 15, so I thought I'd just get him out now. But
no, and I get it. I get for having him that high. It's just I think I don't know. We'll see what I want to see one more really good, fully healthy year out of Helaire, and then I could probably see it. So, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with my other B team. I'm gonna go with the Bucks here.
There you go.
Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, and now they have Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah,
Giovanni Bernard.
And look at Giovanni Bernard's legs, dude. I saw a picture of Giovanni Bernard today, and his quads are like
he's not small. He's big. He's a big guy. So I don't know. You got 3 3 solid backs. Ronald Jones showed me a lot last year, and then obviously you had playoff Lenny, just dominate in the playoffs.
Dominate.
So I don't know, and I actually do like Keyshawn Vaughn. I know they like him too. They were trying to get him a lot of run towards the end of the year last year, and even in the playoffs, he got a little bit. So,
how about Procise getting there from the Seahawks?
Yeah, no,
I know he's at number 5, but
he might not make the team.
Dude, remember him, dude? Remember that? Remember when everyone thought he was like Procise the Promise, like he was going to be the next big thing?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I was high on I was pretty high on Procise actually. I can't.
5 good games.
Yeah.
In a row, they were all good, but he had like 5 good games. So yeah, I don't know. If you look at Jones and Fournette, just basically splitting carries, maybe leaning Fournette, honestly. I think, other than Fournette can't catch the ball at all. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Obviously, another room that's probably going to be overshadowed by their quarterback, but not to the same level that the Chiefs are. So,
AJ Dillon squatted at 765 pounds.
That's impressive.
I just want to tell you that because I found it.
yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
Your wife is going to be super sus looking at your internet search history, dude.
Right? Yeah. I'm typing in like AJ Dillon thighs.
Giovanni Bernard thighs.
Gosh, there's not a lot to go on left.
Not anymore. Not much.
Do I want to pick a room full of twos, or do I want to pick the best running
I mean, I'm
back?
not going to lie. My next pick is a room full of twos if you don't take them. So
Best
Then
one.
I will go with the best running back left in my mind, and go with the Bengals with Joe Mixon.
okay, they're my second available.
Yeah, I love Joe Mixon. I think he's really good. I think he just has been behind a
Super
criminal.
nice to women. Really like Joe Mixon.
Yes, that is. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah.
She
So,
had it coming.
I like him on the field. Let's say that.
It's not in bars.
There, although I drafted him pretty high, and he was like getting 16, 17 carries a game and 41 yards. So he was like averaging a strong 2.9 yards a carry for a minute there, and that was pretty frustrating.
Right.
But there's no O-line. They had no O-line.
Because he's behind one of the worst O-lines in the NFL.
Yep. Poor Joe
I
Burrow.
think you're going to see sleeper. I think you're going to see Najee Harris have that problem this year because the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line is garbage.
They used to be really good too.
Yeah, they're bad.
But Joe Mixon is the best running back left. I know Melvin Gordon. We haven't picked the Broncos yet. That he could give him a run for his money on a good day, but he hasn't had a lot of good days recently. So if they start to fix that O line out and like figure out what they're doing with it, Joe Mixon will take off, and like a lot of people will figure out how good he is. But will that
There's
ever
actually
happen?
one other running back I think might be better, like as good or right next to Joe Mixon, in my opinion, this year. Left.
Well, why don't you freaking pick him?
Well, it is my turn? See, but I didn't know if I wanted to pick him yet because I feel like he's the only one on that.
I know who you're talking about, and he is the only one.
Yeah. So I was going to go with a room full of twos.
Okay.
And the one with the best fullback, and that's the 49ers with Kyle Juszczyk, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Wayne Gallman, and Trey Sermon.
All right.
Full of twos and threes.
Yeah, I mean, Mostert's
I mean,
fast.
Raheem Mostert's still fast, man.
But and then you got Kyle Juszczyk. I tried to put some of that in there. Easily the best fullback left in the NFL.
Yeah, they'll use him too.
Like, I still think though they can get away a little bit. I think they can a little bit get away with having a room full of twos because of how they use the run game. Like Kyle Shanahan's just very creative with.
And they've got good offensive linemen. We'll see when we
they
go
have
our
great
offensive
offensive
line
linemen.
ranking. I
And
think they're a
the-
top 5.
Probably the best blocking tight end in the league.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
All right, well, I'm going to go with the Broncos.
ready.
With Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Royce Freeman, and Levante Bellamy.
Ooh, Levante Bellamy, Western Michigan shout out.
Yes, give him a shout out, Kalamazoo. Melvin Gordon, I think he might have one more real good year in him. I don't know, maybe not, but talent-wise, he's still up there. I think. Royce Freeman's had his moments, so has Javonte Williams. So that's not a bad room by any means. I just think their issue more than anything is going to be everything else on that team. So they're not a good.
They're a bad
They're a very bad.
football team. They're a bad team.
They're going to have a bad quarterback unless they trade for Aaron Rodgers.
Bad.
There actually are some good running back rooms left. Who am I kidding? There's 3 teams.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Good
with.
ones. There's a few good ones.
I'm gonna
That
go
one
with.
wasn't that bad.
No, it's fine. I had them right there with that group of 3 others. So there's like 4 that I liked.
I'm gonna go with the New England Patriots.
Nope, that wasn't one of them.
I don't know. I think it's a room full of twos. Maybe you could say it's a room full of threes, but I still think Sony Michel and James White are good twos. It's just that they don't have a one. James White is one of the best pass catching tight end or running backs in the league still. And Sony Michel does stuff. Every now and then you're like, ooh, Sony Michel.
He had a great rookie year.
If he's healthy, I do like Sony Michel.
That's the thing. Like if he's healthy, but yeah, I mean he had 900 yards in both his first 2 years. He just didn't have he didn't play in 7 games this past year, so it's hard to know if he would have improved being like the number one guy, the clear number one guy. But I mean, I still think like those two guys can get you places. It's just that the Patriots don't have anything else on offense. And then Damian Harris, like, what are they doing with him? Like, what's going on, man? But yeah, I think Sony Michel and James White are pretty decent, and they also have a good fullback because you got to have a good fullback if you're a Bill Belichick team.
They got rid of Dan Vitale though.
He did.
They did?
Yeah, it's Jacob Johnson now.
Well, never mind.
Move them all the way down.
They have a fall.
2.
All right, 25. I think I like the Jaguars the most now that they drafted Travis Etienne. So they had James Robinson as the undrafted rookie last year. Did really well considering that's a bad football team. They were a bad football team. James Robinson was like their bright spot. Again.
Carlos Hyde.
And maybe, and Carlos Hyde. I mean, even Dare Ogunbowale from the Bucks.
Oh!
Of course they have Carlos Hyde.
And they have Devine Ozigbo.
This team is.
They would have Carlos Hyde.
This team is going to end up full of Ohio State and Florida players. That's it. That's all Urban's going to take. Good grief.
I mean, there's worse college teams your team could be for.
I guess, but
he might pull an occasional Clemson in there.
Tebow, come on, man.
I mean, he did draft back-to-back Clemson, so.
Can you imagine if he just like started stockpile? I know he is starting to, but if he that is all he did was stockpile his previous players and recruits.
He got Tebow. Tebow was playing minor league baseball.
Tebow is the truth. You just wait for his 700 receiving yards this year.
He gets an Ohio State quarterback. Signs Felipe Franks as the bat. Well, he wasn't there with Felipe Franks, I guess, but
he knows Felipe Franks, I'm sure.
I'm sure they shook hands.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Stupid. All right, the Jags. You got the Jags. Okay. Man.
We're kind of poopy.
Yeah.
No, there's still 2 I like.
How?
I don't know like.
Are you gonna pick the Rams with Cam Akers?
Like is a push.
So Cam Akers is the best back left.
I was gonna do the Rams actually.
Were you trying to say that Cam Akers is better than Joe Mixon?
No, that's not the one. James Robinson was the one I was saying was better. But
okay.
I actually like 2. I do like 2, but I am gonna go with the Rams.
I was gonna say go with Cam Akers.
He had a great year last year, and I like Darrell Henderson.
Yep.
That's a pretty good one too. And I think if Cam Akers can build off it, I mean, he could be a top half of the league running back.
After that, it's Cheeks, but I mean,
there's one more okay room.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like the Rams. I mean, it's pretty much Cam Akers, who I think is
terrible after that.
He's the best running back available in my opinion. But then Darrell Henderson's a pretty solid 2. Then after that, there is nobody.
Nope.
Why did Cam Akers only get 2 touchdowns last year?
Because he didn't play until
he played for the Rams,
and he
kicked field goals.
And it was when Jared Goff started sucking. We're like, hey, we're going to try Cam Akers. And then Cam Akers started having like 100-yard games back to back, even in the playoffs.
100 yards.
And they would kick field goals.
100-yard games with no touchdowns.
Kicking field goals. That's what they did.
Yep.
That was their offense last year. Was their field?
I was just saying.
I do like Cam Akers. I'm probably going to draft him in the first 3 rounds this year in fantasy.
Well, he's not going to get you many touchdowns.
I'll take the yards.
Draft their kicker too, Joel, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, Isaiah, 27.
Man, I don't like any of these.
Well,
I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Oh.
I like that. They're all right.
Because if Chase Edmonds is a name that I know, and James Conner was good for a little bit.
I like James Conner.
I do like James Conner. He beat cancer, so he's here on my list.
I think James Conner might end up being the number 1 there.
Oh, I do too.
And Chase Edmonds.
I don't know about Chase Edmonds.
Eno Benjamin could be okay.
Yep, he was good.
Maybe.
College. Tavian Feaster's cool.
Muhammad sounds kind of cool.
And Kalifani Muhammad is cool.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if James Conner is taking a dip or not.
Nope.
Who knows?
But Chase Edmonds,
Also,
very underrated.
Also, James Conner was behind a very bad offensive line last year.
So, but he also wasn't the year before that when they had Marquise Pouncey and David DeCastro and Alejandro Villanueva.
And he did good.
Marquise
did good.
Killed a man.
Yeah. I mean, so did that entire Florida team.
When James Conner was behind that line, he was good.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, I think everybody on that Florida roster murdered at least 2 people.
Except for Tim Tebow. He was busy
Besides Tim Tebow.
I literally,
that's why.
About it. Like, literally, the Pouncey brothers, had bodies in their, house or something.
Dude, that's why.
They retired, took their money and left.
That's why Tim Tebow is such an advocate for, pro-life and, helping starving children in Africa, because he's trying to make up for it.
Yeah, he knew. He knew the whole time. He knew what was going on. He knew Aaron Hernandez killed 12 people.
Yep.
And he was throwing touchdowns on Saturday.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I have to pick this team because the only other 4 teams I have left are literally 29, 30, 31, and 32. So we can get part of it right.
Cool.
I have the Washington football team here.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
And so Antonio Gibson, another guy that kind of surprised a lot of people and had a very good season last year. One of the best rookie running backs last year. J.D. McKissick he's been with the Seahawks, he's been with the Lions, and by far this is the most success he's had with the team is with Washington. Peyton Barber's been around. They picked up Lamar Miller. So they've got
had a couple good years.
Yeah, I mean, then he's got injuries, ACL injuries all over the place. So but he's explosive. So after that, not a whole lot, but there's 4 guys that you're like, I don't hate it if they're getting the ball on the team. So,
yeah. Oh boy.
All righty.
Wow.
Well, you can't mess up now. I mean, these are definitely the bottom 4.
You could still mess up in my eyes. Don't screw it up.
I'm going to go with the Steelers here.
Yep, that's my next one.
Just because I like Najee Harris. Benny Snell had flashes. I actually do like Anthony McFarland.
Maryland.
First of all, he's Booger's son, so we'll put that out.
That's got to mean something.
That'll mean something. But second, I mean, he's explosive. Go watch his that guy is good. That
those Maryland running backs are explosive. Even Ty Johnson. You just watch some of those guys.
Anthony McFarland annihilated Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Just destroyed them, right? Kalen Ballage is decent, and then Derek Watt's a good, very, very good tight end in my opinion. So,
Jalen Samuels, is he still there?
Jalen Samuels there. Yeah.
I bet we have the same number 32, all 3 of us. So I've got to think I know. I think I've got it right for my last.
Maybe
one.
there's
because they're all just so bad.
They're all bad.
But I think there's these are levels of bad now. I think the remaining 3 teams there's this bad, and this bad. I think they're separate. I think we should get this right.
The last 2 are pretty terrible.
So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
Yep, you did it right.
Good.
Because I late in the game just now switched them with a different team just because I recognized the name of the first guy. But Myles Gaskin, there's something there.
Yep.
600 yards and 7 starts last year is pretty good. More touchdowns than Cam Akers. Sorry, I'll stop bringing it up. And then you got a bunch of stuff left.
But that stuff contributed when they got chances with the Dolphins.
True.
I mean, even Salvon Ahmed did pretty well when he played last year.
I had him on my Madden team. He was fast. That's
and then Malcolm Brown. He's okay.
Yeah, he's big and strong.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of.
I think we did it right because I'm gonna get this next one, and then that leaves one team, and then I'll have it set in line. So
is it the Jets?
I've got to take the Jets over the Falcons for sure.
Falcons are so bad.
Yeah. So the Jets.
When I saw the Falcons on our list, I put them immediately to 32.
You just look at
because you thought they still had Todd Gurley, and you're like, oh, okay, I gotta move them.
I did. I had them at 25 because of Todd Gurley, and then all of a sudden you were like, no, and then I was like, oh, they don't.
So the Jets have Tevin Coleman.
Tevin Coleman, man.
He's fast. Well, Michael Piron's probably their starter, though. And then they got Ty Johnson, who came along. A lot of people have Michael Carter Jr. from North Carolina, rookie, as a sleeper for fantasy this year, too.
That is going to be such a bad football team.
Mm-hmm. So I got to pull them up on I've been making the spreadsheet, again, like I did last year for our rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And,
they bottom 3 in every single category so far.
Well, we gave them 24th for coach.
Was their coach?